The Yankees extend their win streak to 7 in a row as they pick up an extra inning win on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox on Saturday. MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
And we are off and running and ready to have a little fun with you. MLB Game Night, every game, every night. He is Lindsay Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast. You can follow Lindsay on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast, where right now misery loves company. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, Brewers win again north of the border on Saturday. They've taken the first two in Toronto against the Blue Jays. We'll touch on that. The Marlins and Mets, 19 runs, 25 hits. The team that did not hit a home run actually won the game. Our latest Locked On Red Sox postcast is presented by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Touched on it right at the top. Yankees have now won 7 straight games. Extra inning win against the White Sox on Saturday. And with that, we say hello to our first Locked On host here on the MLB Game Night show. Brian McKeon's got the details on the Yankees extending their win streak.
Yankees win as they get a huge 5-3 victory in Chicago in extra innings on the road. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees, and unbelievable, an extra inning win on the road. I say that so crazily because the Yankees don't seem to do that, and now that's 2 consecutive wins in extras on the road, coupled with 7 wins in a row for the New York Yankees, who now sit just 2 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays for first place in the American League East. We've talked about it all week. They are not playing good teams right now, but you can only beat who's on your schedule. You can only play who's on your schedule, and they have to beat these teams while they play them in front of them. Huge week for the Yankees. Absolutely well played. Still got to take game 4 in Chicago tomorrow, but overall, great game, great extra innings win. We'll see you tomorrow.
Aaron Judge homers, Austin Wells homers in the extra innings. Cody Bellinger broke the tie, RBI single in the 11th inning. Then Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe adding on, both with RBI doubles. We're going to hear from Todd Welter on the White Sox side of this one as they're down 0-3 in the series. But David Bednar, Lindsay, 2 scoreless in relief, and they've used him as a guy in the bullpen, the back end there, not only to shut down and close out games and get those final 3 outs, but they've asked him to get, we've touched on this before, 4, 5, and 6 outs and going to full 2 innings, just like he did on Saturday.
There's a thought process I think teams have about like when you grab a rental guy that you're not afraid to ask him to do a little bit more. And some guys respond really well. Some guys don't. David Bednar stepped up and he's been able to kind of solidify this while the Yankees have had so many other questions in the bullpen and with their relievers. He's been a breath of fresh air coming in and knocking out multiple innings like that.
Breath of fresh air as well. Cam Schlittler, 6 innings, 1 earned run, no decision, walked 1, struck out 8, but a big shot in the arm for the Yankees as he continues to go out there when they hand him the baseball, and he's producing in a starting role.
I mean, you're at the point now where he's got to be on the list of, does he start game 3 of a postseason series? I mean, you're gonna have Fried and Rodon, and after that, it's an open question. Would you start him? Would you start Luis Gil? Like, I would kind of lean, as long as Schlitter's workload would let him do it, you go Cam for game 3 and just be prepared to maybe have a short hook if you need to.
White Sox need a victory in the series finale on Sunday in order to avoid being swept at home in a 4-game series against the Yankees. They've now lost 5 in a row. With that, we hear from Todd Welter, Locked On White Sox.
The White Sox were only going to keep the Yankees' potent offense down for so long. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, and the Yanks beat the White Sox 5-3 in 11 innings. But at least the Sox were more competitive in this game after being outscored 20-6 in the first 2 games of this 4-game series. All-star pitcher Shane Smith had a strong outing, goes 6 innings where he allowed just 3 hits and 2 runs, and 3 hits is what the Sox limited the Yankees to during the first 10 innings. However, Tyler Alexander gives up 3 runs in extras as Chicago is just still not talented enough to compete with a team like the Yankees. And I'll have more on Monday's episode of Locked On White Sox.
Luis Heel goes in the finale against Martin Perez. I sort of feel that this is going to be a 4-game series sweep, and the Yankees are going to depart from Chicago on an 8-game win streak.
It kind of feels like that too. Side note, I'm loving how we're so far 2 for 2 on the Locked On hosts wearing college gear, because now we're back in college football season. I just think it's really funny.
Yeah, I really wasn't aware of that. I say that tongue in cheek, but college football, I'm in the Northeast. You know that. College football is well down on the list. We move on. Good day for the Yankees. We're going to talk about Brewers and Blue Jays here, and then we're going to talk Pirates, Red Sox. The Blue Jays lose, the Red Sox lose, so the Yankees in a real good spot right now. 2 games back of the division leader, the Blue Jays, as they drop another decision at home Saturday, losing 3 in the 9th inning for the Brewers. And the Brewers up 2-0 in that series, win game 2, 4-1. Details from Chuck, Locked On Brewers. Notice Chuck uses the word Yahtzee here.
8 innings in a tie game against the Milwaukee Brewers. You're not going to beat them. My money's on the Milwaukee Brewers. Hey, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Tie game, top of the 9th inning. Jays bring in their closer, Hoffman. Jackson Chourio, welcome back to the lineup. Solo homer, breaks the tie. Yelly adds a home run. He goes Yahtzee. And then for good measure, RBI double by Isaac Collins. And the Brewers have won the first 2 in Toronto. These good teams, I'm telling you, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays, who are in first place in the American League East, Brewers are unbeaten against all 3 of those teams this year. And the Brewers are still in first place. That's why they got the best record. And I get people always ask me, how good is this team? Is this team stacking up with some of the better teams in Brewers history? I'll tell you what, this is the most clutch team in Brewers history. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Going for the sweep tomorrow with Woody on the mound. We'll see a little bit later on in the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Can't sweep a series unless you've won the first 2, and that's exactly what the Brewers have done north of the border against the Blue Jays, who now lead that division. It's down to 2, their lead over the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, this is on Chuck's note there. I mean, they're 26 and 17 in 1-run games. It's a .605 winning percentage. At this point, I would not be shocked by any sort of comeback the Brewers made. We've talked about this before. They're just so fundamentally sound. If they have at-bats left, they have a chance to do it because they can run the bases, they can play defense, they can do all the things. They did it with power here, which is not really their thing. But, and like they're getting all their great stuff here. Quinn Priester, 6 innings, only 1 unearned run. Abner Uribe gets the bottom of the 9th, gets the save there after Jeff Hoffman does not get his. Everything's going right for Milwaukee. Everything's kind of going wrong for Toronto right now. They got a hot Brewers team in town. Kevin Gausman's fantastic and gets no decision.
Yeah, 21-8 record now for the Brewers in the month of August, with 1 more to go here in August before the calendar turns to September. So the Brewers have taken the first 2 in Toronto. The Pirates, one of the worst records on the road this season. They are 9 over at home, but they've won the first 2 in Boston. And our guy, Gary's ready to go. He's got a smile on his face. Locked On Pirates with the details of their 10-3 victory in Beantown.
Johan Oviedo gives the Bucks 5 strong innings, and the offense just exploded against Dustin May and the Boston Red Sox. Hey, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. Super, super encouraging on a lot of levels. First of all, Johan Oviedo stretched above 80 pitches today. Good to see. They just had a ramp down with him last time out. This time they let him go a little longer. I loved the pushback from him in this one. He did get himself into some trouble here and there and just worked his way out of it. Big strikeouts, crazy spin stuff. Love his new arsenal that he's built. So excited to have this player back. I can't even begin to say. O'Neal Cruz, opposite field home run over the Green Monster. I mean, and it was amazing. But he needed a swing like that so bad. And my goodness, he made a diving catch like in the next inning. He needed something like that to re-engage himself a little bit. The rest of the offense, honestly, it's a continuation. Triolo, Reynolds, Pham, they're all hitting right now. This has been a good team recently, believe it or not. In fact, since like June 21st, I believe. July 21st. Only the Brewers have a better record in the NL. Yeah. Don't discount those Bucks.
Insane.
9-3 in their last 12. Opportunity for a series sweep on Sunday. Keller against Giolito, the pitching matchup. The Red Sox could actually, they've lost 5 in a row at home. They could actually lose back-to-back series at home in their last 2 series against Baltimore and Pittsburgh. What do they have in common? They're both in the basement in their respective divisions.
That's going to be frustrating. All right, Tigers at Royals here. Royals even this up, 3-1 victory. Who else? Bobby Witt Jr. He broke the 1-1 tie in the 8th with his 20th home run of the year, 2-run shot. That's now 18 games in a row with a hit for him. Carlos Estevez almost gave up the ghost there. 1-out double to Riley Green in the 9th. Get the final 2 outs to end this. Royals are now 10-5 in the last 15 games, and they are 2 games behind the Mariners for the 3rd wildcard spot, and they have a good chance of winning this series if it wasn't for the fact that Tariq Skubal goes on Sunday for the Tigers. It feels like every time we do this show on a weekend, Skubal's pitching on a Sunday, and I feel bad for the Royals because they did all this work to even the series up, and now they got to go against Skubal.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, 2 games behind Seattle for that 3rd wildcard spot in the American League. When we come back, Trea Turner plays the role of hero for the Phillies in extra innings at home against the Braves on Saturday. Details next. It's MLB Game Night.
Hey, baseball fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you were going to buy anyway. At first, I kind of thought it was too good to be true. It is totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Now, offers vary by user and location, so go to upside.com for full terms and conditions.
All right, Lindsay, we open up segment number 2 with your Braves and the Phillies. And the Phillies do walk off an extra innings. Trea Turner, 2-out, 2-run single in the bottom half of the 10th inning, and 3-2 the final. I feel like the best way to sum it up, and we're going to hear from Connor Thomas with the Phillies side of this in just a moment, but you took a gut punch in the series opener. You took another one on Friday, and losing an extra innings for the Braves, another gut punch on Saturday.
And the worst thing about this one, like the offense has not been good in any of these games, but the worst thing about this one is you used your closer in the 9th. You use Raisel Iglesias. He gets through the inning in like 8 pitches. You then come out and take the lead in the top of the 10th, but you don't send him back out for the 10th inning. Manager Brian Sinker said he wanted to have a high leverage reliever available for Sunday. So they go with somebody from the back end of the bullpen. And Hunter Stratton and Dylan Dodd combined to give up, to get some runners on and give up a 2-out, 2-run single with the bases loaded to end the game. Just one of those frustrating, like it felt a little self-inflicted because he threw 8 pitches. You don't worry about Sunday on Sunday. Get the win while you can get a win. And instead, he pulled him to save his closer to have someone available on Sunday.
And can you confirm after Brian Snitker, and you just said, paraphrasing what he said after the loss on Saturday, Twitter and X have not gone crazy based on his comments, right?
Oh my gosh, they are. I mean, people already were ready, looking forward to him retiring, and this is not helping at all because they've talked about the goal now is just to win as many games as they can to have momentum for next season. There was a game you could have won, and you voluntarily pulled your closer out.
4th walk-off win of the season for the Phillies. The Braves walked off on the road for the 10th time this year. It's also their 31st one-run loss. Mention we do have Connor Thomas. He's got the details of the Phillies extra inning win. Connor from Locked On Phillies.
The Phillies walk off the Braves, and Trea Turner plays the hero. They save what could have been a rough loss and turn it into a great win. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And man, down to the final strike, down to the final out, I was sure that game was going to end in disappointment, and Trea Turner came up huge with a big-time 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 10th inning. Really good job by the bullpen tonight. Really good job by Christopher Sanchez tonight. And hey, Christopher Sale was on the mound for the Braves. So sometimes you just got to battle through and win those gritty, tough games. They did it last night. They did it again tonight. And to follow up that Mets series, 3-game sweep with 3 straight wins and extending the lead in the division back up to 6 games, that's resilience right there. I know we're not going to be happy about that Mets series probably for a long, long time. But what the Phillies have done to bounce back is incredibly impressive. We'll talk about it a lot more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
And Lindsay, real quick, your thoughts. Connor did mention Chris Sale coming back from the IL. Was impressive. Look at his final stat line. Impressive. Your thoughts on his return?
He looked exactly like the version he was before he left. He looked like last year's Cy Young version, right? I mean, half of the swings against him were whiffs, had a 38% CSW, only allowed, I think it was 5 hard hit balls in the whole game, and could have gone longer if not for the fact they were just trying to be careful with his workload on his first game back. He only threw 78 pitches to go through 6 innings. Looked fantastic. Only run he gave up, Weston Wilson, of all people, took him deep.
It wasn't Schwarber, wasn't Harper, wasn't
Exactly.
Bohm or Turner. Let's move on. The Phillies do pick up a game on the Mets in the NL East. We'll hear from Chris Schubert in just a moment. But the Marlins jump out to a 5-0 lead in the first inning. They beat up on David Peterson. The Mets actually came back and tied this game at 8. Marlins eventually win it 11-8. And again, shame on the Mets, shame on David Peterson for not getting the job done. Chris Sherbert, Locked On Mets. Peterson, disappointing with the rookies really picking up the slack from the rotation.
A 2-home-run day from Juan Soto. David Peterson sets the Mets up for disaster. They were down 5-0 in this game before they could even blink. And David Peterson has really struggled here over his last 5 starts, an ERA north of 7, and that includes that great start that he had in Washington last week. Starting pitching is becoming, it has been, but recently it is a talking point. This team, other than Nolan McLean, I can't even put Jonah Tong in that category. It's only 1 start. Bunch of question marks. Kodai Senga, question mark. Sean Manaea, question mark. Clay Holmes, question mark. And now, unfortunately, the guy that was old reliable, he now is a question mark at the most important part of the season. Meanwhile, you have an offense that's setting all sorts of records. Most home runs in a singular month for this franchise. 19 runs the other night, the most runs they've scored at home. They're doing everything. Mark Vientos, we're going to look up at the end of the year, and he might have 20 home runs. He might be an above-average hitter. Juan Soto, going to have potentially a 40-30 season. Francisco Lindor, 9th game this year with a leadoff home run. You've got guys all over the place having great offensive years. The Mets offense with runners in scoring position has turned a corner. Yet it feels like we haven't been able to enjoy this run of success for this Mets offense because the pitching. It's the name of the game, and it is the thing that is going to hold this team back right now.
Lindsay, Chris mentions all the question marks. There are no answers here. And if they're in as a wild card team in the National League, it could be a quick series for the Mets unless somehow, some way they figure this out. And right now, I'm on the pessimist side of this one.
Yeah, they're going to have to count a lot on these young players, these young pitchers, you know, your Jonah Tongs, your Nolan McLean stuff, to not only get them to the postseason, but perform in the postseason because, to his point, everybody's looking rough. David Peterson, Kodai Senga goes on Sunday in the finale. Really, just everybody is struggling. And that's been the story of this team. Really, in this back half of the season, they've had these pitching issues.
Yeah. And for a long time, it's been the Reds in that, you know, looking up at the Mets for that third wild card. They've gotten to within a half a game. They have not been able to take advantage. And with their loss against the Cardinals on Saturday, they're at 500. And look at the Cardinals, just a game under 500 right now. I'm not taking them seriously until they're at least a game over 500. But all of a sudden, this is very interesting. And we hear from our guy, not Jeff Carr. He gets a deserved night off, I guess. But Tim Daniel, Locked On Reds, not happy with how it's going right now for the Redlegs.
There's no other way to say it at this point. The Cincinnati Reds are a nightmare. Another loss tonight. 8 of the last 9. They fell to 500 on the season after a 4-2 loss to the St. Louis Cardinals in a game that, hitting-wise, they didn't have a single strikeout. They had 8 hits tonight. They had 3 walks. They had 11 guys on base. They went 1-8 with runners in score position. They left 8 on base, and they lost by 2. This is a common theme now. And we saw some stupid things like a Will Bainfield bunting with two runners on and no outs in the bottom of the ninth when you're down 2. What are we doing? This team is a nightmare right now. This is unacceptable play. I thought Terry Francona was supposed to fix this stuff. Nothing's being fixed right now. It's just a nightmare. And tomorrow, they better figure this out. 2 sweeps in a row after being the team that never gets swept is an embarrassment, and they should be ashamed. And this was an awful, awful experience for people who spent money to go to Great American Ballpark tonight.
Wilson Contreras, number 20 on the season for the Cardinals. Pedro Pajes also homering late in the game to add to the lead. And Michael McGreevy picking up the win, his 6th on the year. Final 4-2. Cards over the Reds in Cincinnati on Saturday.
Yeah. Padres at Twins. Padres scored 7 runs in the 7th. Win just won 12-3. Series tied at 1 game apiece. Elias Diaz, 2 homers, 3 RBI. Had a solo homer in the 5th and then a 2-run homer in that big 7th inning. Ramon Laureano, trade deadline acquisition from the Orioles. 2 hits, homer, 3 RBI. Gavin Sheets, who's been working a lot of DH this year, 2 hits, 2 RBI. And just Adrian Morejon got the win. He pitched a scoreless 6th inning in relief of Nick Pivetta, so he was the pitcher of record for that big offensive inning. Pivetta goes 5 innings, 3 runs, no decision. Morejon's now 11-4, but he's already got 64 relief appearances. Pivetta did give up a 2-run homer to Byron Buxton. Big series for him. That's his 28th of the year. So I'm glad to see Buxton's finally healthy, but we'll see who wins this matchup on Sunday. This is Joe Ryan going for Minnesota. You feel good about that.
Yeah. Gavin Williams was terrific in helping the Guardians to a 4th straight win. Lindsay and I have the details of that one and plenty more. Segment number 3, MLB Game Night, when we return.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why Monarch Money exists. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Because Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you because Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB.
MLB Game Night, every game, every night. Lindsay's on. Is it with Brian McKeon on Sunday?
Brian McKeon tomorrow night. Yep.
Brian is back at it. And then we've got John and JD Monday through Wednesday. And then Lindsay and I will be back Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week. And we're going to be in to the final month of the regular season. In fact, August closes out on Sunday. And then we get into Monday and September 1st, Labor Day on September 1st this year. I don't remember the last time that happened. But as we continue here, the Guardians at home on Saturday knock off the Mariners, who are scuffling a little bit. But the Mariners in a pretty good spot for that 3rd wild card spot. We'll touch on that in a moment. But the Guardians pick up the victory, and we hear from Justin Latta, and he mentions playoff atmosphere. Here's Justin, Locked On Guardians.
If the Cleveland Guardians are going to make the playoffs in 2025, but this series against the Mariners so far has had a playoff feel, and we said it was going to have to, and the Guardians have really stepped up to start this weekend. Justin Latta here from Locked On Guardians. Clutch hits, great pitching performance, great defense, all the earmarks you need for a playoff series type feel. Gavin Williams, great from pitch 1, had 1 mistake, Torrey Polanco all night. Guardians got clutch hits, a 2-run homer from Kyle Manzaro, who's getting hot again. Nolan Jones in the middle of a rally once again, having a great week. And Stephen Kwan had the hit that ended up being, it was an insurance run that ended up being the run that made the difference, and a great catch in left field that really saved the game when you look back on it. He had the basically the game-winning hit and the catch that saved it. Cade Smith got a 4-out save. It was a fantastic game. Guardians are now 3 out of a wild card spot behind the Mariners, and they could make it 2 on Sunday if Tanner Bivey steps up and has the best game of the year. It seems like an important start for him. Can the Guardians keep the momentum going? Find out on the next Lockdown Guardians.
Guardians' 6 straight losses have followed that up now with 4 straight wins. I thought of this earlier, Lindsay, and you had mentioned the Royals. Can they catch the Mariners for that final playoff spot? I feel like the Mariners right now might be peeking and looking behind them because you've got not one, not two, but 3. You've got Kansas City, Texas, and Cleveland sort of all breathing down their necks now.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin mentioned 3 games back, but because it's 3 teams right now, more panic or at least thinking about those teams behind the Seattle Mariners?
I think there's a little bit of panic, especially when you play one of those teams behind you and can't seem to get the job done. I think that's the big deal here is, the Guardians have won the first 2 games of this series. And so Seattle's not only aware they got a couple teams behind them, but they're playing one of them right now and can't seem to get it done. And what has to be a little bit nerve-wracking, I guess, too, is Cal Raleigh is hitless in this series. 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 0 for 5, because he went, I think, 0 for 1 yesterday. Yep. But that has to be a little bit nerve-wracking. It's like, hey, if he's not hitting, we're not doing anything on offense. And they haven't been as one-dimensional as they've looked in this series all year.
Yeah, we had the 0 for 1, 3 walks from Friday night, and you're thinking they're just pitching around them. All of a sudden, they come back on Saturday. It seemed like they challenged him 0 for 4, and you mentioned striking out 3 times. So he's going to bed tonight, perhaps thinking, well, how are they pitching me on Sunday in the finale? Julio Rodriguez did homer in the game, but Seattle 5-11 in their last 16. Go ahead.
Finale here: Bryce Miller, Tanner Bybee. That's going to be a fun one.
Yes, yeah. Cubs, Rockies. Cubs getting healthy. Hold on for a 4-3 victory. They've won the first 2 games against the Rockies at Coors Field. Top 4 hitters in the lineup: Bush, Tucker, Suzuki, and Happ. 2 hits apiece, 8 hits combined, and 4 walks. Those guys I just mentioned on base 12 times. Cubs do pick up the victory. Opportunity for the series sweep in Denver on Sunday.
Getting Javier Assad his first win of the season, 6 innings, 3 runs. That's a big deal simply because the pitching's been a little bit suspect for the Cubs, with guys out for the year, Justin Steele, things like that. Tyone on the IL right now. So if Javier Assad can step up a little bit down the stretch, that's going to help them if they can get into October.
All right, what are we thinking right now? Diamondbacks and Dodgers in L.A. D-backs clinched the series on Saturday night with a 6-1 victory. Dodgers shut out Friday by Gallen in the bullpen, held to just 1 run by Eduardo Rodriguez, notching his 6th win of the season, 6 scoreless innings, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He's the epitome of that guy who frustrates you because he's capable of that every time out, but maybe next time he goes 4 2/3 and gives up 6 earned runs. But again, just 1 run so far in this series for LA.
It's got to be a little bit concerning when you have the lineup that you have. Now, that being said, they're bringing back a couple guys from injury. Haesung Kim comes back early next week. Michael Kopech for the bullpen. Kirby Yates gave up a 3-run homer in the 9th today, so definitely didn't help matters there. But they've got reinforcements on the way, and I think some of their hope has to be if we can make opposing pitchers have to work in every inning and not just the inning where we have Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, maybe we have a little better shot at holding off San Diego.
Yeah, Lindsay gave you the Padres win over the Twins in segment number 2. So with San Diego winning and LA losing, Dodgers, it's one game lead in the NL West.
They don't play each other all the rest of the year. Thanks for that schedule.
We mentioned that once or twice.
Yes, golly.
We have mentioned that, and it just it still baffles me. Glass now 1-3, went 7. Gave up the 3 earned runs, walked nobody. Always like that number. Struck out 6. He's got to be a big part for the Dodgers in the rotation down the stretch.
Yeah, it's the swing and miss stuff. It's been there. He's getting it in the zone enough. You saw the no walks here, but he's given up easy runs, and that's something they're going to have to kind of come back on because you haven't shown you can. And here's the thing: they haven't shown you can trust the Dodgers bullpen. They spent a ton of money on the bullpen. You can't trust the bullpen. But how often do you see a starter go 7 in the postseason?
Yeah.
They're going to have to figure it out between now and then.
And speaking of back ends of the bullpen, Josh Hader is still out for the Astros. Brian Abreu charged with all 3 runs of the 9th inning, took the loss for the Astros Saturday night at home as the Angels get 3 in the 9th inning, win the game 4-1. With the victory for the Angels, they even up the series at a game apiece. Oswaldo Peraza broke the 1-1 tie with a 2-run single in the 9th inning for the Angels. Mike Trout, RBI the hard way, hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. But the Angels with the victory, and they'll have an opportunity, rubber game of the 3-game set in Houston on Sunday.
Yeah. Orioles at Giants. This is a fun one. It was a blowout for San Francisco yesterday. Orioles blew out the Giants 11-1 today. So a couple streaks snapped here. The losing streak of 5 games for the Orioles is now over. The Giants' 6-game winning streak is now over. But Trevor Rogers, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walk, 5 strikeouts. He's now 8-2 with a 1.39 ERA. Got tagged for a solo shot by Willy Adames, and that was really it. And just a bunch of offense here. Jackson Holliday, 2 hits, a homer, 4 RBI. Ryan Mountcastle, 2 RBI, a double, and a home run. And then the flip side for San Francisco, we saw some of the offense be a little iffy in the middle of the lineup. Matt Chapman, Wilmer Flores, Casey Schmidt combined to go 0 for 4 from each of the 3 spots, the 4, the 5, and the 6 hole, which kind of just, kills any sort of momentum you may possibly have in an inning.
Right.
Especially when that happens 3 times in a game. So really tough there. I'm curious if Justin Verlander can win consecutive starts for the first time this year. He faces Tomoyuki Sugano on Sunday.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to finish strong here for how many starts he has left in the season for the Giants. Rays, second straight game in D.C. in our nation's capital, beating the Nationals 4-1. Ryan Pepiot, 5 scoreless innings for his 10th win on the season. Pepiot, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Gave up a leadoff single to Josh Bell in the 4th inning. That was it. Got out of that inning with a double line drive double play, then worked a 1-2-3 5th inning. Josh Lowe, not 1, but 2 home runs in the victory for Tampa Bay. 2-out, 3-run home run in the first, a solo shot in the 4th for Lowe.
Brandon Lau had one yesterday. Josh Lowe has one today. Rangers at A's, wrap this up. Rangers just steamrolled 9-3. They never trailed in this one. They out-hit the A's 17-8. Merrill Kelly had his 11th win, 6 1/3 innings, 6 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs. Did get tagged for a solo shot by Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker, but Wyatt Langford picked him up. He had his 20th of the season. Josh Young had 3 hits and 2 RBI. A couple other guys, Kyle Higashioka behind the plate, 2 hits, 2 RBI. And then Dylan Moore had a pinch hit 2-run homer in the 9th, his first homer since coming over from Seattle to Texas after being waived by the Mariners.
Real quick, final thoughts and a thought perhaps for Sunday's games.
I love a Sunday Scooble start. That's just tons of fun. And with the Braves playing on Sunday Night Baseball, I have plenty of time to watch all of these games before I sit down for my team.
That is a wrap for us with our latest edition of MLB Game Night. Before you be sure to tell your friends all about us. Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Hit the notification button, and that's going to alert you when we go live with our latest edition of MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.